Hello, this is a lesson for Mega Goal 5 for the intro, and this is lesson 1. The way these lessons are designed, they are supposed to be active, student-centered learning tasks, which means that you can use them with remote learning. This version is for the teacher. It contains explanations, pedagogical aspects of why we're doing what we're doing, and I will give you a brief outline as we start right now. Before we start, we always try to develop what the students will learn on the following pages. Now, there could be a lot of things or a few things, but we only have 40 minutes for the students to learn, so we need to focus on what will the students learn on pages 2 and 3. So if you notice here, that the content and topic would be 3 or 4 texts for reading about collaboration, teamwork, success stories, future. But what is really important is the features of the text. What does the text look like if you're going to replicate it? Well, the text would have 70 to 100 words, and the sentences would be mostly simple sentences, but some of the details in the sentences might be very long. What kind of sentence thought are we learning? We are learning that about fact sentences, opinion sentences, and sentences or details that support an opinion. So what do we need to learn? I mean, what is the focus of the learning here? The focus of the learning is how to find fact and opinion sentences in a single paragraph or text, and how to find sentences that support that opinion. Any other questions that are not part of the learning process will just consume time and distract the students. In a normal school year, a student in grade 10, 11, and 12 will have about 125 effective learning periods. And if they learn something that they can use in every period and they all come together, then they will be able to do something. So this is what the students will learn. However, what will the students be able to do after learning is another important aspect of the design. The focus here is going to be on reading to comprehend. So how do we know that they're comprehending? They can find sentences in any similar text, not just these texts in the book, that tell fact, that tell opinion. A higher level would be not only to find the opinion, but they can find sentences in the text to support an opinion. So this is what they will be able to do. And that is the most important part. You can do anything you want, but we need to focus on the whole. What will they be able to do when they finish this 40 minutes? So let's see how they're going to learn. But before we do, all the programs that I'm designing have 4 colors. This color means that this is the opening part, and it has a special purpose. The green is the learning part. The blue is always checking the learning, and the tan is the assessment part. What is interesting about the assessment part is once you start to understand how it works, it makes your ability to design tests much easier. Now, if you're asked to submit a paper or a lesson plan, this is the lesson flow. As you notice, the brown or the is the opening task, and there are 1, 2, 3. These 3 tasks should take between 5 and 7 minutes. Now, the first time you do them, like the first week, if you're doing this, it's going to take more time because you need to get used to it, and all your students need to get used to it. But this is the opening, and it has a special purpose, as we'll explain in the next slide. Now notice that this is a learning task. Learn how a simple sentence works in English. Then, once you learn it, we check. Then you learn how to tell if the sentence is talking about an opinion or fact. Then we check. Then you learn how to support an opinion with 1 or more facts. Then we check. And this is the most important part of the lesson. It builds on everything, and the students get to have an interaction with one another. If you want to develop the students' ability to speak and listen or converse, we need interaction. And the final part is the assessment, which is scaffolded into 2 levels. This is the easier level. This is the higher level. So this is the lesson plan. Now, if you notice that this is different from the traditional classical plan, which is introduction, learn, practice, produce. Because the problem is, if you don't check the learning in increments, and if some students are left out here, and then some students are left out here, by the time you reach 20 or 30 minutes into the lesson, those students will never catch up. And this is when some students say, I don't understand, or the teacher checks their understanding and you have to repeat the whole thing. So if we do it here, then we can find out how many can or can't and adjust the learning early in the period or the session, okay? Now, the opening task. Before we start, I would really encourage you to go to this YouTube channel to see tasks to help students kickstart a lesson, a language lesson. There are 4 principles. Principle number 1 is that the students were speaking in their native language of Arabic, and we have to move them into English as fast as possible. This is called code switching. Principle number 2, it should give them a sense of direction of where we're going today. Yes, you can write the objective on the board. That doesn't mean many of the students understood the direction we're going in. You can write it, but that does not mean the students realize it. The students can only realize it if they go through an experience. Principle number 4, when the class changes from one teacher to another, it takes some time to heighten the attention. And if we don't heighten the attention of the students, you can talk, you can write. That doesn't mean most of the students can see that. And this is one of the problems of why the students spend so many years in school and still don't learn English, because you're doing the job, you're probably doing it right, but that doesn't mean that the students are getting it, okay? Now, we need to design it for the students to get it. We cannot assume that all students will take the responsibility. And principle number 4 is all the students need to be able to do it. It's a challenging task rather than only the people who know English can answer, all right? Now, if you have 20 to 30 students in the classroom, there is no idealism in this world. So what we know is that how many or what percentage are able to do it. The more that are able to do it, the better the lesson is. So let's look at the opening task. It will take more than 5 to 7 minutes for me to explain it, but remember, as we get better and better at this, it should only take 5 to 7 minutes in the classroom, all the brown. So let's have a look. In this opening task, you have put some sentences, all right, that are opinion and fact. Don't mention the word opinion or fact. This is the slide that the students will see. Remember, you just walked into the classroom. They're still thinking in their native language. And you tell them, listen to each sentence and write its number in the order you hear them. So the students need a pencil and a paper. And every time you say a sentence without a number, they will look for the sentence and then write its number on the paper until they have a sequence. To help the teachers, I made another slide. This is your slide. This is not for the students to see. Take a picture of the screen, put it on your phone so that you can look at it and read from it. Do not attempt to just wing it. You know, this is not the, don't go, the red one is on. This will distract the students. Show the students that you're well prepared, and the students will learn to become well prepared. So I did take the picture on my screen, on my phone screen. So I'm going to start reading from my phone screen right now and tell you, okay, listen to each sentence I say, write its number in the order you hear them. I think we are the best group. Give them 10 seconds. Don't raise your hands. Don't give me the answer. Don't say which number it is. This is part of the management process. So then, the second one I'm going to read is, the red one is great. Work together in groups according to the color card I gave you. I want the red car. I prefer the red one. The blue group is improving. The red one is on the left. Now, it is not really very critical to get them right. The whole idea is, remember, we're code switching. You need to hear in English, you need to see the words in English in order to write the number. That doesn't give your brain any opportunity to think in your native language. So don't ask the students which number, because that will consume the time that we need from the 5 to 7 minutes. And remember, this is just one of the opening tasks. Don't spend too much time on it. Try to get it as automatic as possible in the future. And now we're going to say, okay, check your answers. And we put the answers up. Now, it doesn't matter if they've got mistakes or the wrong order. That is not important. Our focus is on code switching, heightened attention, sense of direction, and everybody can do it. This is your slide if you want to use it. Now, we're going to give them a second task. Divide the 7 sentences on this slide into 2 groups according to the meaning. Then in pairs, tell each other the 2 groups and how you thought about it. We are not looking for a correct answer. And still, at this point, please don't mention fact and opinion. What this is doing is that your brain has moved into a comparison and contrast format in order to classify. So yes, you are saying classify, but you cannot classify until you compare and contrast. And if you need to help the students by talking, you say, look at the first 2 sentences. Ask yourselves, are they similar in anything? Are they different in anything? Then look at the third one. Compare the third one to the first 2. Are they similar in anything? Are they different in anything? Are they similar in anything? Are they different? Just that. We want the brain to work in a processing format. And the processing format is to compare and contrast in order to classify. So give them this chart as well and say, listen, put some of your sentences as group 1 and some of your sentences as group 2. And then when you finish, in pairs, tell each other the 2 groups and how you thought about it. Now, okay, you will say they don't know enough English to do it. Fine. The idea here is to make the brain function in compare and contrast in order to classify. We are not looking for the right answers, and we are not going to give the answers right now. After you finish, you say, okay, now let's look at what we've been doing. This is the meaning that we were working on. See, notice we gave a lot of experiences, then we came to the word fact and opinion. If we start with the word fact and opinion and they have no idea, you could be speaking gibberish. So what we want to do is to create an experience and then give a name to it. What someone believes or thinks is an opinion. What someone states as a truth or information is a fact. So when we read anything, our mind converts what we're reading into what someone believes or thinks, or what someone is saying as truth or information. So think about the first 2. Which of these 2 is what someone believes, and which of these 2 is a truth or information, right? Okay. So have them think about it and then give them a few seconds to think about it and then say, check your answers. Now we move to a second slide. Again, the same thing. Notice how we're repeating what someone believes or thinks, what someone states as truth or opinion. So have them read the 2 sentences and think alone, okay? And say what they give them 10 to 15 seconds. Let them write opinion or fact. Please don't take oral answers, because when you take oral answers, you're only going to be speaking to 2, 3, or 4. That means automatically the people who are not giving answers are left out of the learning experience. Have them write 1, what it is, 2, what it is, and then say check. Again, one more time, have them read the 2 sentences, and then they can write on their paper 1 and 2 and write opinion and fact. It should be like 10, 15, 20 seconds at the most. not too much time, all right? Now, you will say, what can I do with the people who do not understand? Think the other way. How many people are you bringing into the learning rather than how many are left out? Don't frustrate yourself. People will learn as we move along. Now, the final version is this. Here are the answers, okay? Why are they the answers? You might want to speak here and say, this is an opinion, because when you say best, that is not a fact. Somebody else can contest that. Don't spend too much time on it, all right? Because we're gonna learn this. This should take 5 to 7 minutes, not at the beginning of the year, not the first time you do it, but in subsequent lessons, it starts to get faster. Now, to sum up, when we read, our mind does this. Opinion, fact. When someone believes or thinks, opinion. When someone states it as a truth or information, it's a fact. Now, learning time. We're going to learn how a simple sentence works in English. In the future, when students have learned this in grade 11, then we will probably not need to put it in grade 12 anymore. But since it's the beginning of the year, it could be a great reminder. How does a simple sentence work in English? All right. The basic structure of a simple sentence is like this. The first part is always the who, what. The second part is always the verb or the action. The third part is the who or what. The fourth part is the how. The fifth part is the where. And the sixth part is the when. This is the basic order of the simple sentence in English. The word subject is a structural explanation, not a meaning exploration. You always say, we want the students to get the meaning. Well, the meaning is not in the subject. The meaning is in the person converting that subject into a who or what, etc. So let's have an example from the sentences that we did. Notice we always try to use the sentences that we've used before, because as the sentences become familiar, it's easier to use familiar sentences to learn something new. So I, which is a who, want, which is the verb or the action, the red car. What do you want? The red car. So the red car is a what? Don't read word by word. I'm going to make it a little bit more complex right now. Work. So you can start with an action when you're giving instructions, right? Work. How? How do you want us to work? Together in groups according to the color card I gave you. If you read this word for word, you will not get the meaning. This is a detail. A detail is a group of words that goes into one of the 6 parts of the sentences. Work. How do you want me to work? Together in groups according to the color card I gave you. This is a detail. Notice when I said at the beginning that some of the details are long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 words, but your brain takes them as one meaning. How? Together in groups according. Together in groups is not enough. Together in groups according to the color card I gave you is the complete detail. Missing any part of that detail changes the meaning. So this is how a simple sentence works. And if you feel that you might want to give the students some more sentences, please do so. But focus on sentences that you can gather from the book rather than making up a lot of sentences. Now, you learned, we want you to check. Take these 5 sentences, that's what you're telling the student, work alone, break up the sentence into a who, what, action, who, what, how, where, when. This is going to help you develop meaning as you read the sentence in the simple present, because this is at a detail level. We need to focus on the detail level in order to move to the upper level of opinion, fact, etc. All right? Give them, I don't know, how much time they need. That is, they need a copybook or a sheet of paper. They make a chart. Don't tell them not to waste time taking out a ruler to do this. Just write across the page, the columns, the who, what, and then take the sentence. Don't do it orally. Let them do it in writing. Now, of course, the first time you demonstrate, you might do number 1 orally to help them. but we already did them here. So what you want to do, that this was not only a learning, but a demo, and you say, I want you to do the same thing. Now, when most of the students are working, you as a teacher can move around and go to the students who might need some help and help them. All right? Give them time. When they finish, or rather when you time it, and when you time it, if you say 2 minutes, please focus on 2 minutes. I've been in classrooms, I've heard the teachers say 2 minutes, and then they say stop after 30 seconds. That is not good management. That doesn't help the students learn to become managers themselves. They start to assume that this is the normal thing to do in the world. After they finish, of course, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to say, check your answers. Check your answers. Now, look, again, some of the teachers might need an explanation here as well. Let's look at the first one. I is a who. Think is the action or the verb. What do you think? We are the best group. So this is a detail. Even though it can stand alone as a sentence, now it's no longer a sentence. It's a detail in the sentence. And those are the questions that you ask the students all the time. What do you think? We are the best group. That's what I think. So it is a what. Number two, the red one is great. The red one is great. The blue group is improving. The blue group is improving. Improving is not an adjective here. Improving is part of the verb. It is talking about what the blue group is doing. This is what is the blue group doing? It is improving. But if we say the blue group is fantastic, then fantastic would come here. The red one is where? On the left. Got it? Okay. This has got to become part of our lessons in the future. Now, how to tell if the sentence is talking about opinion or fact? Let's apply. Notice that you will always see a link between tasks. So this is going to be linked to the check your answer and the task before. So how do you tell if the sentence is talking about opinion or fact? Here. First, find the what or the who at the beginning of the sentence, like this. Second, find the main action or the verb of the sentence. Third, find the who, what, how, where, when that follow, like this. Once you find them, so what we are doing here is called visible thinking. The teacher is not talking and writing on the board. The teacher now is helping the students see the thinking process, or steps if you want. Once you find these three, you look at the third part and you say to yourself, it's a what? Fine. If other people may not think the same or have a different idea of the what, then it's an opinion. We are the best group. Some people go like, I don't think you are. The other group is better, so you're not the best. So this is an opinion because it is subjective and it can be contested by other people. Remember, we're not talking whether the fact is right or wrong. We're talking as a matter of this is what you think. Now, let's look at the next one. The red one is on the left. Notice I left a few spaces here so that you can see the three parts. Again, what is the first part? This one, the red one. It's a what? Is the main action or the verb of the sentence. And on the left, let's think about it. On the left is a where. That's good. So now, what we have here is the analysis of the sentence, which will help us determine if this information is not what about people think. This, you cannot think it's on the left or on the right subjectively. It's a matter of stating the truth or information. Now, that truth or information might be wrong, but it's still information. So it's not about what people think, but about information that others can check. You can check it. All right, no, you're wrong, it's on the right. Or yes, you're right, or you're correct, it's on the right. So it is a fact. What do you think is going to happen now after these two slides? You got to do it. Now you tell the students, go to the book, open your books, find and mark the sentences that talk about opinion and facts in the three passages, 1, 2, 3, all right? These three passages, you can move it up to 4 if you like. And when you finish, remember, what are we doing here? We're no longer giving them a sentence alone. Now they have to look for the sentences in the text. So that sentence now is embedded. And which one is a fact and which one is an opinion. But please don't worry if they get it wrong, because being wrong is part of the learning process. So you give them now some feedback, not necessarily. You say, learners work together in small teams. This is a fact because the writer is giving a description of what learners do. It's not his opinion. It is not always easy for individuals to work effectively with them. Now you're expressing a view. You're saying it's not easy. Somebody else will come and say, it's easy. No, it's not easy. Yes, it's easy. We hear that all the time. This book is easy. This book is difficult. That's a matter of your opinion. You have to support it later with why you think so. So the writer is expressing his view or her view about how easy or difficult it is to work with others. And we have them here as well. You can pause the video and check them. Now, don't forget that this is grade 12, okay? So we assume that the kids know some English. The next step now to learn is how to support an opinion with one or more fact sentences. So when you said something is easy, good, that's your opinion. Can you support it with a couple of facts? Or you say something is great. Can you support it with a couple of facts? All right, so let's have a look. This is what we want our students to do, not only to learn English, but to develop cognitive and metacognitive abilities in the language, because that is what brings on a better communication and ability to go into the university. So let's have a look. If a person's opinion is, it's not always easy for individual. Notice how I took something from the previous slides and the book. You make something, if you put a totally new sentence here, then the student is going to learn how to analyze something that is not unfamiliar. We're helping them to learn this, right? So put the familiar and help them learn the unfamiliar. What is the unfamiliar here? How to support it. So we're going to look at support here. So if a person's opinion is, what did the person say? It's not always easy for individuals to work effectively with others. Good. Now, you can support this opinion, or he or she can support their opinion by saying, the individual may not have the same skills as others, which is true. We cannot all have exactly the same skills. So if I am an individual and I want to work in a group with you, with 2 or 3 people, and I do not have the skills that you have, then it will support my claim that it's not always easy. You can put 20 supporting facts, but the idea is you no longer state an opinion and claim your opinion as a fact. Your opinion is not a fact, it's an opinion. You can support your opinion with facts. Let's look at another one. Many people believe that the Earth's ecosystem will collapse in the near future. Do you see why I made them read the whole passage to find the fact and opinion previously? Because this sentence was there. Now, if your students are of lower level, you might choose an easier sentence or make an easier one. So if many people believe that the Earth's ecosystem will collapse in the near future, go, I don't think many people believe that, so it's a person's opinion. You can contest that. So the person who said this needs to support it with a fact. A survey showed that we need to clean this, okay, we're back here, that 4 out of 10 adults between the ages of 21 and 24 think so. So you have facts here. Somebody conducted a survey and went around to look at people and say, between 21 and 24, and say, what do you think? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Now, the people who are speaking have opinions, but the survey is a fact because you look at your claim, many people, prove to me many people. You say, well, I found out that 4 out of 10 think so. 4 out of 10 people think so. Now, don't say 4 out of 10 people, because you didn't ask babies, you didn't ask 3-year-olds, you didn't ask 7-year-olds. You showed the range of the people that you asked. So this is a fact, that a survey is a fact that you can use to support your claim or your opinion that many people think this way. All right? Now, of course, work alone and do this. Which sentence is the most probable fact of support for each opinion? So these are opinions, and these are sentences of fact. While I do not like people to write A, B, C, D, but sometimes we have to accept it because of speed. Whenever possible, make people say the answer. So if they're speaking, don't allow them to say A. Tell them to say the whole sentence, because A is not the answer. A is a representation of the answer. So, and also look at what I have done here. I have brought in, and this is what many teachers should start to do. Lucid is really a Saudi car. It is being developed by Saudi investment. It is an electric car. It's called Lucid. It looks beautiful, but the person speaking is an opinion. So you can put information about the country and the culture, you build it into the system, but you don't state it as fact if you don't know the whole truth. So I really didn't know if it will be available in 2022. So that's why I said I believe that it will be in 2022. So this is my opinion. Which of these facts will support my opinion? Fatma is a very honest girl. That's my opinion. Which of these facts support my opinion? I have the feeling that Ahmed likes to spend a lot of time outdoors. Which of these support this feeling? Which is an opinion. I have no doubt that he is a very smart person. Which of these support my opinion? Now, again, as I said, maybe some of your students, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many, unfortunately may not be able to read in English even though they are in grade 12. But think about how many more people in your classroom are getting a learning experience versus yesterday. So if 5 people used to work with you and now we've got 6, that's better. If we had 10 and we build them up to 12 and 14, that's better. More and more people go into the learning experience. So I don't know how much time this will, I would say 2 minutes at the most, where the class is very quiet. You're walking around to make sure that they're reading and writing. And when they finish, say, check your answer. All right, this. If you want to explain, or if anybody has questions here, feel free to answer. You can talk with the students and have a discussion after the experience, not before the experience. Because if you do it before the experience, they would not know what they're talking about. Make them go through the experience first. And the final learning part, language interaction. Interaction is where what one student says makes another student say something, and vice versa. Reading a conversation off the page of a book is not interaction. It's not role playing. Why? Because both students can see what they're going to say next. Interaction is when you don't expect what another student is going to say or reply. And if you want to see more of this, please go to the YouTube channel and see the other lessons of Mega Goal and Super Goal, how the interaction is changed from level to level. So here are the instructions. In pairs, tell each other a sentence that is an opinion, and support it with a sentence that is a fact. You can use words and sentences from pages 2 or 3 or make your own. Because if some students are unable to make a sentence or an opinion, then they're going to be quiet. So yeah, okay, go through the book. Not necessarily the same lesson. They can go forward or backwards. Right. Then give them a demonstration. So there are 2 students, and in the boys' class, you might change these 2 boys. In the girls' class, you keep them as girls. So they're working in pairs, all of them at the same time. This person says, I'm a funny person. I'm always telling my friends jokes. So this is the opinion. This is the supporting fact. And this person, I think you have a lot of friends. Whereas another pair might be saying this, Jeddah is a very busy city. It has more than 3.5 million people, and over 5 million cars. Let's just fix this. 3.5 million people and over 5 million cars. All right. So let's go back straight there. I'm sorry, I only notice the typos when I'm talking about them. All right. So it has more than 3.5 million people and over 5 million cars. So Jeddah is a very busy city is an opinion. Because somebody coming from, let's say, Beijing or Shanghai would say, huh, this is nothing. This is a quiet day in our city. So you notice, yeah, we might all agree that Jeddah is a very busy city until somebody comes from a city that is busier and will say this is nothing. So it's a matter of opinion. How do you support your opinion? It has more than 3.5 million people and over 5 million cars. Sorry, we need to make one more correction. It has more than 3.5. So again, when you're reading this and doing it, please forgive me and help me proofread and edit this. Now, what will the other person say? I think you read a lot. Or I think you watch a lot of YouTube video. Or I think you live there. But if you live there, you might not have the facts. You usually can only get these facts through a source, such as reading. Now, all the students, all 30 of them, are working in pairs. It takes a lot of management. We can, in the future, do more videos on creating the management of the classroom. I would love if one day we are fortunate enough to have permission to actually use real students to create those models. It is better to create a management model on a task than to create blanket management and then let the teachers figure out how to use it. It's not really very effective. We've done that for a very long time. So we create the management in the task itself. Got it? All right. Now, the last part is assessment. So notice the code here. It's Mega Goal 5 Intro, Lesson 1, Part A. This one is easy. I made it easy so you as a teacher can say, if we have problems here, we cannot go to a more difficult one. So this is going to be 2 levels. Let's say, for example, if all your students can only get 1 or 2 correct, we have a big problem, right? The next one will definitely not work. And you can also use this on in a quiz or in a test. All you need to do, you keep the same instructions, the same format, you put new sentences, that's all. So you ask the students, you can give this as an assignment, you can give it as a task at the end of the period, but the students have to read and decide which one is an opinion or a fact. But the higher level one, so these are the answers, look at the higher level one. We gave them 2 paragraphs. Find the opinion sentence and the supporting fact in each paragraph. Then write them in the chart. So you need to give them something like this. This helps them to collect their thoughts. This helps them to become organized. You have an opinion sentence here, and you have a supporting fact. Don't underline. Please don't allow them to underline. Let them write out the sentence, because if you want to balance between an underlining experience and writing down the sentence in the chart, which one is a higher level experience, the underlining or the copying? Now, when we are pressed for time, we go to underlining. But if you really want them to learn, make them write it. So one more time, you give them 2 paragraphs. Can we put this in the test? All you need to do is put 2 new paragraphs, 1, 2, and give them the chart like this, and chart. So you have chart 2 and for paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. And they need to take that information that is the opinion sentence and the supporting facts and copy them. When they finish, always make the student check their own work. Yes, the teacher is supposed to monitor and check. But honestly, I'm going to say something very radical here. When you are correcting, you are getting the experience. We need to, we can debate and argue this at some other time. They will cheat, they will give themselves better grades, etc. In the exam, you corrected. But in the learning process, make them correct themselves, go around, make sure that they're correcting. So if they're correcting, it means their attention is 100%. They are getting an experience, they're getting an engagement, and they can see and compare what they have written with what they see. It is not a fast process, but it is an irreversible process. Once you learn, there is no way you're going to forget this. And what do we put in the test? Same instructions, same charts, 2 new paragraphs. Now the student can go to the test and says, I know what you're going to give me. I know what you're going to give me, but I don't know what you're going to give me about. So I cannot study for an exam anymore. I have to learn for an exam. Learning is the key factor. Thank you very, very much. And these are the answers here. Thank you for watching. You can go to the YouTube channel here and watch the other lessons that I've been able to put up. And may I say to everybody, it takes about 3 hours to prepare this lesson from the outline to the slides to the video and to put it up. And nobody has enough time in the world to do everything. So as you start to learn, we can start to get together and start to redesign learning that helps the student learn, rather than the model where you sit there, I will teach you. Thank you very much. These are my contact details if you need to get in touch. Thank you again, and I'll see you later with a new lesson. Goodbye.